Toby, a very good morning to you. I'll tell the story very, very quickly and very briefly, and maybe just get some tips from you about what we can do to avoid this. So I get a DM from Alan Ford, a friend of mine, pal of mine, and he wants me to vote for him in some influencer thing. I'm a bit confused at first because that's never how we communicate. Long story short, this person is insistent, send me a screen grab of this and the other, and eventually I call Alan. I'm like, what on earth is going on? And he says, block, 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 I've been hacked. How easily does that sort of thing happen? Because they were threatening to do all sorts of things and trying to extort money from him, and it's a growing problem. And importantly for me, Toby, Meta doesn't seem to care.
Well, Meta never cares. So Meta is called Facebook. I'll get to them in a moment. But I'm afraid to say, Bongani, the story you're telling happens all too often, probably millions of times a day. And it's really simple. The state of the internet has radically changed, but most people haven't changed the way they deal with it. So for 20 years, I've been explaining cybersecurity like security around a house. South Africans understand that really simply. You build a wall, you put an electric fence, a couple of machine gun emplacements, depending how paranoid you are. And nobody does that with their cybersecurity. So there are a couple of layers to creating security for your online profile. The first, obviously, is a password. The technical term for that is a factor. So you have to have what's called two-factor authentication. The first factor is your password, and the second factor is usually, it used to be in the past you get an SMS, an OTP to your phone, and you type that in. Now there are much better systems called authenticator apps. They're made by just about everybody, Microsoft, Google, LastPass, Nord make them, and you use those as a second factor to literally authenticate yourself. So only you could have that information. And what these authenticator apps do is every 60 seconds, they generate a 6-digit number that you put in. Or, for instance, if you log into a Microsoft service or a Google service into Gmail, and you've got the Google app on your phone, it will say, can you give us, they'll give you 3 numbers. First, you have to authenticate it, then you have to give the numbers in the Microsoft case. And that's really the most important thing people should be doing now. If you don't have two-factor authentication turned on, you're just being stupid.
That's precisely what saved me. That's precisely what saved me, because they were insisting on a screen grab of that authentication, and that's when I knew something was up. But why is it that a company like Meta, possibly, in fact, I think they are still the biggest social media platform. They're about to be overtaken by TikTok, as we know. But why don't they seem to care about this?
I think they do care about that, and they have forced people to start putting on two-factor authentication. I'm not a Facebook nor Instagram user, but I got push messages.
Sure, when I say they don't seem to care, they don't seem to... So here's another one that's happened to me. I've had my images used by Patrick Banda, George Mushunga, whoever. Yeah. When you report that kind of thing, they don't care.
No, they don't care. People need to learn this about Facebook. Facebook doesn't care. Facebook's interest is growth over safety. Francis Haugen, the whistleblower last year, very clearly used this phrase. Facebook prioritizes growth over safety. They knew that Instagram is causing teenage girls mental distress, and they still carried on doing it anyway. They don't care. They don't care about your mental health or your account getting hacked. They just care about showing you advertising. So the sooner people realize that, the better. Google, for its own part, is just as involved in surveillance capitalism. But Bongani, I sent you a link, and I'll tweet it to you quickly. I wrote a list for a bunch of other journalists and people of the things you need to do for cybersecurity, and I can't stress it enough. It is simply the most important thing. Cloud computing has changed the way we use the internet. You can never use the same password, so you must use a password manager. Don't use the one built into Chrome, please. And if you're using Chrome, please stop using it. Use Microsoft Edge. Microsoft, you can trust. Microsoft, you pay for a service with a credit card. They don't go and data mine your information afterwards like Facebook does. That's why I don't trust Facebook at all. Facebook's not interested in me. Facebook's interested in my data and what my data can do to run in the business. So,
Toby, we'll put that
paranoid.
stuff, we'll put that link up as soon as you've tweeted it. I will certainly retweet it. Just the basic steps of what you need to do to keep yourself safe from these hackers in an ever-changing world. Toby Shapshak is a tech journalist and the editor-in-chief of Stuff Studio.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.